You can start
Okay.
recording now.
Okay, great. Hi, everybody, and welcome to another episode of BuyUcoin Talks, where we discuss about the aspects of cryptocurrency, the crypto world, and we bring you the amazing people to you, which can talk about those hard and a little bit of complicated topics. Like today, we have Metaverse, and with us we have an amazing panel in which we have Ayushmaan. He's the founder and CEO of Galaxy.io, and we have Vinshu with us. He's the director of Nonceblox. We have Victoria with us, and blockchain technical writer, and we have Yash Danekar with us, the co-founder and CEO of Acknoledger. So, hi guys, and I hope everything is all right. And we'll start with Yash. Can you just introduce yourself for our viewers, for the new viewers you are joining to?
Yeah. Hi guys. Hi. I hope you all are doing great. So I'm the co-founder and CEO of Acknoledger. I'm also founder of BitGenie. I'm advisor to few more companies like Live, Harmony Launcher, and few more. Like I've been in this space since 2016 and kind of really fascinated by the metaverse as well. And recently started Acknoledger, and we are actually a Acknoledger company, metaverse company, where we aggregate all the metaverses. And yeah, that's about me.
Okay, moving to Vinshu, can you just introduce yourself to our viewers, please?
Okay, so I am the founder of Nonceblox, which at this point of time is India's biggest blockchain development company. I'm also a co-founder in NonceAudits and Short Media, in NonceVC, which is a small $18 million crypto fund specifically curated for blockchain startups. And again, in terms of really our clients, we work with a lot of NFT and metaverse clients. So if you look at maybe top 5 of them, Sandbox, Ambersword, Vulcan Forged, SynCity, Arclands. So we keep on working with a lot of them with Nonceblox, and have been in the industry for almost 7 years, and great to be here.
Great. Moving on to Victoria, can you introduce yourself to our viewers?
Yeah, thank you so much. My name is Victoria. Thank you for having me here. I'm a blockchain writer. I work for several marketing companies. Currently, I work majorly with XIG Global, Stereo, and currently we're also working on a commerce metaverse blockchain that is going to launch shortly, but can't disclose so much of it. I think the beauty of the space for me is the kind of media attention it's getting in the last few months. Is like the whole world is beginning to listen, and more than ever, people can really see that this is where the future is, and this is a technology they cannot afford to not take note of. So it's exciting when I see events like this that actually expose people to the kind of knowledge they need to be aware. So I think I'll just stop there. Thank you so much for having me.
Okay, great. We are looking for giving our users something. And moving on to Ayushmaan, buddy, can you just introduce yourself to the users?
Yeah. Hello, everyone. My name is Ayushmaan. I'm currently based in Delhi, and I'm the founder and CEO of Galaxy.io. We are launching our NFT marketplace this Christmas, and within a year, we'll be launching a crypto game. I got introduced to blockchain way back in 2012, where one Bitcoin was just $12. I was certainly using it to explore the dark web back then. But you see how crypto is advanced right now. I wish I'd held on to those BTCs.
But most regrettable moments of our lives that we knew.
But anyway, we are building towards a very interesting future in the blockchain space, and I'm happy to be a part of this panel.
Great. So let's start our discussion on metaverse. And the first question, which will be, as you all know, what is metaverse? We don't know about metaverse as a normal retailer or just a crypto holder right now. We don't know about metaverse. So any one of you can take and start the conversation, please.
I think maybe Yash would be the right person, being with Acknoledger. he would be the most into it.
Yeah, so it's really interesting question. Like, what is a metaverse? Like every company right now, they have a different definition of metaverse. By the way, like the way Facebook or you can say Meta, so they envision it as like a more towards AR VR reality. Okay, and for companies like Fortnite, Atari, it's like more kind of game, right? Like Fortnite, so they kind of envision it as a game, but it's kind of a combination and of all this like AR, VR, blockchain, and even the gaming experience. So why there's so much hype around metaverses? Because we are spending so much time like in the metaverse. Like the first example is Fortnite and the Roblox. So people spend so much time in those games, and even PUBG, which is kind of a really sensation. So what will happen in future is metaverse is nothing but internet on steroids. Okay, like say the way right now you're buying anything on Amazon in your phone in that app, it's so boring, right? But in future, you will be actually going in a virtual store. You will be kind of on your body, like when the shoes will automatically fit in your legs, and you'll be able to see how it will look on your overall body. Okay, so those experience will be created. And even when you are doing like right now we are doing a call, okay, so which is kind of a very 2D way or web 2.0 version of it, but there'll be like a 3D version of this where we are actually interacting in a very realistic manner. And so this is what is kind of intriguing about the metaverse, and why companies like Facebook, which is just like a $1 trillion company, it's already a $1 trillion company, so they are kind of getting all in metaverse. So that means it can at least become 10 trillion. So I personally see there'll be multiple $1 trillion companies in metaverse, and like everyone will move towards the metaverse, like from whether it's a shopping, whether you are buying or you are watching a series, or you're even attending stand-up comedy. So all those things will happen in metaverse. People will be spending majority of time. Concerts are already happening, like Travis Scott's concert, like it went crazy. 5 million people attended that concert. So metaverse, according to me, is nothing but internet on steroids. And everyone has a different definition. They kind of try to explain metaverse from their own perspective, but it is nothing but internet on steroids, where everyone will come together, will spend majority of the time, and even brands will follow. And NFTs are making that really easy. Yeah, so that's about metaverse.
Okay, as you're talking about the virtual reality and the augmented reality, so what we are will be seeing like the proper virtual reality thing, or the augmented reality thing, like we have to semi interaction with the elements as well. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah. So basically, recently, I think few days back, Mark Zuckerberg, he posted one photo on Instagram, okay, like wearing a glove. Okay, so that was like this, okay. So that glove, what he mentioned is that you can actually feel the objects in the metaverse by wearing that glove. Okay, so it's kind of, we'll be living in a partial reality. I'll say, even you'll be able to say, for example, today when you buy clothes, okay, you go on a app and buy clothes. But in future, what will, you'll have a 3D printer at home. You'll just go through the designs, okay, like how it will look on you, and then you can just download the design and you'll 3D print that design at your home itself. So you'll not be buying clothes, and you will be only buying designs. So that's how the future will be. It's still very early, I'll say, but that's how. And even like so many cool things can be done. Like say you can sit in the I say let's all of us are like say imagining on round table in a metaverse, like a sandbox or Decentraland. Even that will happen soon. It's just a matter of few more months. Yeah.
Okay, great. So moving on to Vinshu, what are your thoughts that how will it change the whole game of internet? How the people will be interacting with each other?
I think, in terms of really, I fully agree with Yash on that whole metaverse definition. But what I would like to add to that, and this is, maybe my own thoughts around it. I think in terms of really us going meta, that journey has started way back. So, you literally progressing from Web 2 to Web 3, or even the Zoom meeting that we are having. Maybe my parents would never know a technology like this would exist. Now we are in a stage where we're having Zoom meetings. I was meeting, with Nonceblox, we keep on meeting 50 to 60 new startups every week. And I met one, beautiful startup called Coin Reality, and they were showing me this defense device where you can just wear a glass and then everything is in augmented reality. Very select kind of audience for that one. But I think that whole thing really moving, progressing in your journey of meta, that has been happening. It's not something which is happening overnight. That has been happening for a while, and that will keep on happening. And for us to really interact with that, it's gonna change. I don't think it's gonna literally be like an overnight thing that everything would be changed. It will be a gradual learning process. We are still in that process. We learn how to work with mobile phones. We learn how to work with Zoom video calls. We will soon how to, learn how to work with those different metaverse technologies. So maybe not like a fixed date and say, okay, everything is going to be changed after that. But certainly in terms of really companies, it's going to be very beneficial in a way that it's going to save money. So all of your retail stores, all of your, maybe even logistics, maybe even factory workers, your drive through, you're trying to get like a drink from someplace and Five Guys or your burger from McDonald's. All of those things can be changed and a lot of money can be saved from metaverse. And that money would ultimately be trickled down into better user experiences for the users. So this is going to happen. And, we're just trying to be a dot on that whole trajectory. That's it.
Okay. Moving on to Victoria, as Vinshu has told that the currency will change the whole game of trading and purchasing and buying, and all things will be changing with the metaverse. And as we all know that NFT is like the currency of the metaverse right now. There are different NFTs which are used to purchase and play the games in the metaverse right now, like XC and Sandbox. They have created their own games and they use their tokens to get into them. So what are your thoughts on that?
Okay, before I move into talking about NFTs, I think I quickly want to touch on what Metaverse is that they mentioned before. Because honestly, I feel like we're still at this phase of the Metaverse where you ask 10 people what the Metaverse is, you get 10 definitions of what it is. Because it's like the angle each of us can still see it from, because we are the early years. Although it's not really like a new idea, like we all know, but it's still evolving. And I think the more we see different aspects of it, the more we can put it together. But I think basically for me, I would always say that the metaverse is basically internet without the current shackles we have, without walls, without boundaries, without limitations as much as we have currently. And when you talk about NFTs, I feel like the NFT makes every internet user an owner. The current system we have, I can wake up and with maybe 2 million followers on Instagram, my account is down. Nothing to say, no explanations, nothing holding them back from doing that. But the whole idea of an NFT is you have, like, there can be a system, maybe I can sell a particular part of maybe my portion of the likes or the interactions. It makes participants feel like they belong or they own a part of the internet. Because at the end of the day, every single person being active on a social media platform makes that platform. Without the people, the platform cannot function as it's supposed to be. But we are all just renting the space. But when you look at the current system that NFT allows people to own, you are playing a game. You probably own the player playing for you. Nobody can just kick you off the game tomorrow and say you have nothing on that game. I think before now, the missing puzzle of the metaverse itself has been NFT. And with having NFT coming on board, it just fixes the whole narrative. Now you can own, because at the end of the day, humans, we have to trade. There has to be commerce. If not, whatever it is we are involved in is going to look like a waste of time, if you can't make money from it. And NFT gives us the opportunity to actually trade in the metaverse, to own things. And when people own things, they get to invest more in it. And that's the picture the metaverse, NFTs bring into the metaverse. So yes, that's actually the currency we have in it. And at the end of the day, the whole concept is still evolving. And NFTs, we used to just be maybe this person buying art, this happening here, but we'll even see use cases of NFTs in the coming future that's going to blow our minds, because this is an evolving field. And I think NFTs has been the missing puzzle the metaverse needed to thrive. And I think it's all coming together.
Okay, great, great. So we are moving to a new future which have the virtual reality aspects as well. So Ayushman, what is your take on what is metaverse and how it is changing the internet right now?
So there are multiple definitions of metaverses online, but as Vinshu pointed out very correctly, it's an evolution, and we've been a part of it. You know, from ordering medicines to food to even a masseuse. It's so easy right now, right? I mean, in our parents' age, it wasn't possible. They would literally have to write down things and send it across. But now there's the email, there's SMS, there's voice notes, there's Zoom. So we are gradually working towards something. Now the metaverse is going to combine different aspects of social media, online gaming, AR, VR, cryptocurrencies that will allow users to interact virtually. What we are doing right now is like a 2D version of us interacting. But what if we are in a shared space and we can actually interact and transact with each other? It becomes really interesting. So, like, I was going through a couple of tweets recently, and I came across this very interesting tweet where this guy says, the moment our digital lives are gonna get more expensive than our physical lives, we'll be submissive to the metaverse.
Yep, that is true. We are playing games. We are giving the money. We are buying like clothes for our character, which are expensive. They are from our own, right?
Exactly.
So that is going on right now. And so continuing on that topic, the NFT is the currency of metaverse right now. There are different metaverse which have their own cryptocurrency right now. So what are your take on that?
So NFTs will actually authenticate the move of digital assets in the metaverse. Let's say you want to buy clothes or shoes or guns for your game. That's how it'll authenticate it.
Won't it be the current the altcoins or any other coins which have we right now? No? So can we incorporate those coins as well into
Absolutely.
the virtual reality?
Absolutely. So like we are also building towards a metaverse, and we'll be launching our token like early next year.
Okay, great. So there are pros and there are cons of everything in the world. And as we from Yash, I want to know what are the metaverse pros and cons?
Yeah, so the pros are, I think, plenty. I think, but I think one con, I think cons, I would say, which I'm really scared of, or that terrifies me, is like the way we, if you look at that one picture, Mark Zuckerberg is walking, and there are people in that hallway, like everyone wearing that Oculus Rift. It scares me, right? Basically, because it's not natural. Like it feels like so. We are kind of getting connected virtually, but we are getting disconnected physically. We are not talking with the people around us. So that's what I think that is one of the biggest cons. And I think metaverse is so interesting, and it will kind of so many people will be creating it in such a way that you'll be compelled to spend more and more time in this. Like say you will not like to live in the real life. Okay, like so that's what will happen. And this is second thing that scares me, or terrifies me. So, and the cons are many. Like say, for example, you're shopping. Okay, so shopping can be done really interesting way, instead of just kind of scrolling the screen. And even the second really important aspect is you can save time, money, and even say if you're going for apartment hunt. Okay, now you have to actually go and visit it. Imagine like you are wearing that 3D glasses, and you're able to see from your home itself, and you don't have to go. So imagine like what kind of time, money, energy you'll save. So those interesting use cases are people are already building. and people have already started buying a lot of lands in the metaverses, and people started earning passive income on those lands. They are renting it out, okay. And even one interesting insight that I've discovered is the price of the coins, say in Decentraland and Sana and Decentraland and Mana. The price of the land is increasing faster than the price of the coin. Okay, so you need to own some land, okay, in those metaverses, I think, because in future it will be very, very expensive, because everybody will want to have that land in those parts, because a lot of brands, everything will be there, shopping malls will be there, so many interesting things will happen here. So that is the these are the pros and cons that I personally feel will be kind of we can expect in future.
Okay, great. Okay, so moving on to Vinshu, that as Yash has said, we are going in a matrix kind of thing into the metaverse. We are going there. So, in your opinion, what are the pros and cons which will either boost the metaverse, or you can deplete the metaverse?
I think if I talk on a larger macro level, when you talk about pros of metaverse, there are plenty. We have been discussing about it. Our lives have become easy the day we invented internet, or the day internet came into existence, and it will keep on happening. A lot of those things which Yash mentioned, they're gonna stand true. And we will have a lot of other things to build on top of that. You would have people or talents, or even maybe if you talk about India, for instance, we used to, when I was back in college, I remember, people literally saying, okay, I got a job in Google. We had like an interview and we did that, and I'm earning millions of dollars now. Now, if you look at India today with Web3 coming in, that whole talent has become, very democratic and decentralized. So now you have talented people, or essentially skills coming in from everywhere. India or Asian countries are ruling the Web3 world. And that's something which is going to happen for the Indian economy as a whole as soon as Metaverse comes into picture. Now, this is good for India. This is good for the world. Things become more democratic, things become more easy, and our life would become more, let's say, less, more dependent on these new technologies. But that also is a big con. So if you have, I'm not sure about the viewer base, but there is a very good series on Netflix called Black Mirror. And it's really about what's going to happen in future, and with the new technology coming in, how things are going to change in daily life. So all those things are going to come. I feel some way or the other, those Black Mirror kind of things are going to come true. People are going to be more dependent on their virtual lives. There is already a lot of fakeness and, let's say, less genuineness that exists on your social media. Now we are just giving out, metaverses might just give out like another set of control in the hand of some big players, which is what the problem is today, though, right? So there are too many metaverses out there. There is Decentraland, there is Sandbox by Sebastian. Yash is launching his own metaverse, and a lot of these guys are having their own metaverses, which are becoming more like cities, city states. Yeah. So I think ideally in future, everyone, and these guys are going to become giants of tomorrow. These are guys are going to become, you never know, Yash is coming out in a video 10 years from now, hey, I'm doing something different now, and I'm changing my name to Omni instead of Meta. So it's really about making sure that we don't get controlled by these guys, not become puppets. So decentralization is still a myth, even though blockchain is decentralization, but again, there are entities out there which still controls it. And these different metaverses are like an example of that. So it's more about really making sure that you're not falling prey to that. And there is a layer, like you have Web3, maybe a Web4, which is even interconnecting all of these metaverses, like what ArcadeNet is doing, or what maybe I heard about Totem is trying to build on all of those components. So we need to make sure that those components exist, and you don't fall prey to those futuristic cons that metaverse might bring in along with the advancements.
Okay. So some concerns are there for the metaverse, which can lead to demolish the decentral future which we are going to have with the cryptocurrency and the decentral things, which will bring the democracy to the people So moving on to Victoria, same thing. What are the metaverse pros and cons, and are we going towards a universe which have like whales controlling them? They have the power all over the people like that.
Okay, so the truth is, I think for me, when we look at the metaverse, just like Vinshu said, the pros are like so many. First of all, I think more than ever, more than the internet is doing currently, the metaverse is going to unite the world a lot more. And it's going to create new jobs. When the internet came to be, we could see so many careers that were previously non-existent coming out, people making so much money from being influencers. That was not even something realizable maybe some 20 years back. But now we have people making money just for having likes on Instagram, followings, and it's just mind-blowing when you look at it all together. So the metaverse, apart from job opportunities, avenue for a whole different level of fun while still making money. So there are so many opportunities when you look at the metaverse and its projections. But the problem majorly, I think it made mention of in terms of security. That means the big giants still having the kind of centralized system to an extent to what we have now. And outside of that, I think majorly it's addiction. This our generation, the hours spent online is becoming mind blowing. And by the time we start living in the metaverse, I think it's going to get way out of hand. Now, people are going to be raising children who grew up in the metaverse. Predominantly we grew up in an age where, okay, the internet was just coming up. We knew when the Facebook was invented, when Instagram came to be. But these people are going to be growing up in an age where they grew up living fully in the metaverse, some even schooling. When they come back from, even those who go to physical school come back, they have to play in the metaverse with their friends. The level of addiction may just get out of hand. So I think that's one of the major issues. Then also, I think oversensitivity, because, virtual reality, it's a whole different level of experience. And I think coming back into the real world is going to have an effect on the natural stimulus of the body. And I think that's also a major part. And outside of that too, I think one aspect is maybe to an extent, I think people will be cut off from their reality because it's going to be a major escape. And, currently we already see people who have a life so different from what they live on Instagram, on Twitter. They're trying to fake what they are not. I think, and it's getting out of hand. We have Photoshop, we have all sorts currently going on online. And I think the metaverse is going to be an extended version of that. But the truth is, I don't think it's it's something that is inevitable, because at the end of the day, the technology is an extension of humans and the future is technology. So I think those are one of the things we cannot run away from. But I think you made mention of that to Vinshu. We just have to find a way, as we are growing with the technology, find a way to curtail these things and to put them in check. And, around you, try to create means where people do not lose time or track of time generally. So I think that's it for me.
Yeah. So right now we have phones which are like the 2D version of metaverse, and we are still losing ourselves in them like for hours and hours, and that's what the main concern is going on. So Ayushman, what are your thoughts that what metaverse are have pros, how many pros and how many cons, which will lead to another dimension of.
I think everyone in the panel has already, pointed out the main pros and cons. The pros being on a monetary level, it's gonna flourish for sure for different sectors, not just for artists or malls, or for every sector. There's an application of that in the metaverse. And the cons, I would say, yeah, addiction. Like if kids have something like this, which is already in place, they would get sucked into it immediately. Like Yash pointed out, PUBG being a sensation. I mean, there were kids getting addicted to it. They even tried to kill their own friends and stuff. So that's like a very big issue to.
Yeah, that's very concerning. Right. So, do you have any thoughts that how can we prevent that from happening?
There's a thing called as social well-being, where your screen time is recorded in your mobile phone, and if it surpasses a certain level, it automatically switches off. So things like that could be implemented in the metaversal,
Okay, okay. So we are talking about just shutdown mode or any timer
Yeah,
that can
something
stop that.
which
But
automatically
won't
does
it?
after a certain level of use.
Okay, great, great, great. But as you know, na, that we are playing a game and we are on a specific mission and we have to close it,
Yeah.
and it creates frustration as all. So I hope that we find a way to create some kind of check that allows us to stop that metaverse from sucking us in. So moving on to Yash, as you were saying about there are many games, there are many metaverses which have been separated from each other. So what are your thoughts on how much it will grow in the gaming industry, or it will just sustain to the gaming industry only?
No, I think one thing I also figured it out, by the way, like in the journey, when we were doing our research, okay, like say uh, in a right now, if you see the gaming market, what happens is, let's take an example of PUBG or Fortnite. You can only buy the digital assets, or in the Roblox, you can buy the digital assets in the games, and you cannot sell it to anyone. You cannot resell it, or you cannot lend it or borrow. Okay, so this is one big problem right now in the games. So that is kind of will saturate the market after a certain level. Like Fortnite is played by 1 billion gamers. That is crazy amount. Like almost like a huge the global population.
Like a percent, yeah, a percent of a population.
Yeah,
Yeah.
15% around. Yeah. So people they are crazy about it. But what is happening through this NFTs is people are able to buy, sell, lend and borrow the assets. Okay, so it is helping all the four key stakeholders, like the gaming companies. They can create assets out of thin air. They can sell it. Okay, they can create marketplace. Okay, and they can also make it interoperable. That this asset, like say you are using a car in NFS, can be used in say sandbox also. So that way, it will become interoperable, and it will huge door of opportunities. The gamers, they will make money while playing games. Okay, not just waste their time. Okay, in Axie Infinity, the gamers are making $5,000 to $2,000 to $5,000 per month by just playing Axie Infinity. Okay, that is crazy amount of money for a lot of people. Okay, like considering that you're just playing game. Okay, and there people have launched scholarships also. Like say if you don't have money but you're a good player, you'll get a scholarship also to you can borrow the Axies and play the game. Okay, so this is also what happening. There are funds that there was one, I think, company I came across. They launched a $1 million fund to sponsor this gamers to get the Axies. So all these things are happening. And so the gaming companies and even investors like us who don't usually play games, they can invest in those assets, like the gaming assets, and can basically lend it out, okay, and earn passive income. And even the game designers, they can create interesting NFTs and tools inside the game. So this is not only restricted to the gaming. What will happen is everything will merge together, right? Like it's like that puzzle that was missing. So like whether it's a blockchain, whether it's a crypto, whether it's a metaverse, AR, VR. So all these things will merge together and create something really, really beautiful. Okay, and it's already getting started. And on the top of it, so it will not be restricted, first of all, to the only gaming space. It will expand. And it's like, that horizontal innovation that is going to disrupt almost every industry. And I've given you an example how big it can become. You have asked me this as well. So just to give you an analogy, like Facebook, which is just like a $1 trillion company, can, they think that metaverse is the next big thing. So at least, you can expect it to go like the metaverse space to go at least $10 trillion. Okay, which is huge because India's GDP, if you consider, it's 2.5 trillion. Okay, and so that's how big it will become. And there'll be multiple, I think in 5-10 years, there'll be multiple $1 trillion companies that are just focusing on the metaverse. Okay, so I'm super excited about it. And by the way, Acknoledger is not creating a metaverse. Acknoledger is aggregating all the metaverses at one place. Like it will be kind of a gateway to the metaverses and the gaming NFT space, so that you can access it from anywhere. You can buy, sell the assets, and whatever the data you'll need, you'll get it from Acknoledger. So we are kind of building the infrastructure for the metaverse.
Yeah. All right. Okay. So you are just creating a portal to the next dimension. So going to Vinshu, that metaverse growth in gaming industry, how will it help to grow the gaming industry? It is helping right now, but what are your thoughts on how far it will get with the metaverse, the gaming industry right now?
I think the question should be other way around. So it's not really about how far metaverse would take the gaming industry or all these different apparel industries. It's really how far these different verticals, gaming for instance, is going to take metaverse forward. So if you're aware about Ayushmaan is there from 2012, and if you're aware about how Bitcoin came to be popular, it was given out on games, as rewards for you winning the competition. And even for a lot of these altcoins, there are different, even before play to earn or interact to earn, these words became popular. There were a lot of these games which were telling, okay, hey, we're going to give out the Litecoin or, some other kind of altcoin for the winners to be there. And I think same is going to happen with the gaming industry and metaverse as a whole. Gaming industry is going to drive the consumption. So as they say, it's nerds followed by the gamers, and then all the retail guys comes in, or all the regular humans like me and you come in. So both have a very coexisting and a beneficial kind of a relationship. They coexist because of each other, these verticals. Metaverse is definitely going to help games. We are already seeing that with Sandbox and with ArcadeNet, with SimCity, and a lot of these games that are essentially becoming popular because of metaverses and the kind of hype they are getting. And ultimately, all these trillionaires and billionaires trying to come out with their own metaverse or trying to popularize Meta or Nvidia's Omniverse and all these kind of things, it's ultimately gonna also give much needed exposure to some of these games which are lacking. But the other thing, which I feel is going to be better or more prominent, is ultimately all of this ecosystem that is being created, this network layer or this application that are being created on top of metaverses. The biggest thing that's going to benefit from it is the metaverse itself, or is the, let me maybe call it omniverse itself. So all of these smaller city-state metaverses coming together, and then we venturing into a future where one thing is not really independent of the other. Everything is codependent. Everything are just different components in our Web 4 or Web 5 that's going to come through.
Okay, okay. So we are moving in a world where everything will be in a unison. So going to Victoria, the same questions for you. That is the gaming world will change drastically due to the metaverse. And what are you, in addition to that question, that the field of gaming is not the constraint here. Is there any company which are implementing the same ideology, the metaverse ideology, in their field as well?
Okay. So looking at the question, honestly, I think I really agree with what Vinshu said once again, because as a whole, the gaming sector itself has demonstrated to a lot of people who do not even understand anything about the metaverse. It has given them a pictorial representation of what it can be to an extent. And more than ever, we can see games like Minecraft, that was a Travis Scott's concert. We had 12 point something million people in attendance. That was insane. Then we had the year before Marshmallow, about 10 million people in in attendance. So the gaming industry already has the technology in place. So now it's what can the gaming industry do for the adoption of the metaverse? Because the gaming industry is growing so fast, even with the technology before the metaverse itself is catching up with it. So I just feel like it brings a whole perspective to people. When you're trying to explain, oh, this is what this will look like, you can point to certain games. And now we have games like Axie during the lockdown, really helping people to make ends meet. I was reading through an article, and how a lot of Philippine youth, even after the pandemic was over, did not want to take the regular job because they were anyway more from playing Axis. So games originally where we had people complaining, oh, this is a waste of time, you're not doing something productive. Now we can see that it gives a representation of the fact that even in future, while in the metaverse, while doing things that people naturally would see as a pastime or as just a waste of time, what it used to be can now be activities that people earn so much money from. I think that's a representation the gaming industry already gives to the metaverse. And more than ever, the idea of NFTs is helping people earn millions, even in gaming industry, because products that naturally would be only for in-game use and cannot be anywhere, does not really worth much. Maybe you can only trade it with coins you earn in the game, which you can't exchange for any tangible amount. Now you see people exchanging those same coins for a lot of money on natural exchanges that is outside of the gaming ecosystem. Yeah. So I think it's like an interrelatable relationship. The concept of the metaverse, the blockchain, is driving the gaming industry to a whole new level. The same way I believe strongly, the gaming industry is playing a big role in the adoption of the metaverse ideology and the metaverse ecosystem as a whole. So I think at the end of the day, they work hand in hand together. We are seeing even a lot of natural gaming, like VR games, trying to switch to the metaverse. That says something, because they already have the technology to an extent, maybe not at the top level, but technology is evolving. They are getting there. So I think they work hand in hand. The metaverse is driving the gaming industry the same way the gaming industry is driving the metaverse to mainstream adoption.
Great. So as we have accomplished right now that gaming industry is far more affected by the metaverse as any other technology right now. And Ayushmaan, I want to know that what opportunities will it create in India? Like there are some jobs which are they are not as popular as the developer or the engineer's job right now. So what will the metaverse bring to the table on that?
So the gaming industry as a whole is currently valued at $300 billion. And the cryptocurrency market is valued at $3 trillion. So that's like 10% of it right now. But then it has the potential to grow massively. So let's say it becomes 50% of the crypto market, right? New jobs are going to pop up each and every day, from designing to coding to even writing stories of games, that is going to be sorry. Oh, I thought you were saying something.
No.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, that's going to bring up way too many jobs in the near future. It already has.
Yeah, but as an Indian parents, right, they want their kids to be an engineer or a doctor or something like that. Even a coder that has now passed by their merits. But according to like metaverse, I think the as you were saying that storytellers or the designers will get the most of the boost right there. So what do you think that how much boost they will get from the metaverse?
Majorly 3D modelers, the jobs that will be in demand in the near future are 3D modelers. Then they'd be something like Acknowledger, which is combining digital assets across metaverses. So it's just not strictly development, but then there are different aspects to it.
Okay, so the freelancers which work to create the elements right now, they are creating the assets for many of the graphical needs or whatever needs which we which are
artists, like there'll be online art exhibitions inside the metaverse. There'll be music album launches inside the metaverse. So it's just not
in the Decentraland, I think there are art galleries. The people have created the art galleries and they are selling their NFTs right there.
Yes. Like even Nike recently started Nike Land on Roblox, where they've built a whole community for Nike consumers. So they could really buy rare Nike products in that metaverse. Things are gonna just go onwards and upwards from there.
Moving to Yash, that can you tell me about the big players which we have to look for as a normal person? like which NFT we have to invest in, or which metaverse we have to select for that. Yes.
It's very hard to kind of predict, which metaverse are going to survive. So there are like a lot of projects like, Sandbox, Decentraland. They are from a very long time, but there are new projects like Star Atlas, Blocktopia. They kind of emerging and coming up really fast. But the thing is, not all of them will survive like for next 3 to 5 years. Okay, so that we need to remember. So there'll be like kind of challenging things. Okay, time. So it's hard to predict. So my suggestion is to kind of diversify a portfolio, because as many projects, as many good projects which you think can add a lot of value, and try to buy some lands as well in the metaverse. Like you ask for jobs, like in the last question, Aishwarya. So I'll give you one example. So there'll be like virtual real estate brokers. Okay, coming soon. I think this is because people don't know where to buy the land as well, right? So this is and everybody will want to buy a land in the metaverse where you want to have like do their brand marketing and everything. And so these things will be kind of keep happening. And but my suggestion is like when you buy NFT, I always tell everyone like how you should think of is like, first is whether 10 years down the line this NFT will be valuable or not. Okay, if the answer is like hell yes, like it will be yes, so then only you should buy, otherwise just leave it. Okay, or you can just play it on hype or trade it, but if you want to hold it for a long time, think from that perspective. And like a lot of these projects, they initially launch some interesting NFTs. Okay, like as a these are like rare NFTs. Okay, so they will be very valuable in future. So keep eye on those NFTs. Okay, like Step Hero, they launched their own collection of NFTs. Okay, which are very rare, and they'll have a special utility in those games. So even we will be launching those things soon. So keep eye on those NFTs as well. So NFTs with utility. Okay, like a strong utility. Only those NFTs, because this NFT hype will not be like, NFT will be very big, but the hype will fade away after a certain time. Okay, and then people will start asking for the utility. So you should start that right now, okay, instead of waiting it for that, because you will make good decisions and you will not end up losing your money. So
Yeah, that will be great for the users. And moving to Vinshu, that same question for you. What are the big players right now in the metaverse which are currently holding the whole metaverse? And what should a simple user, a small trader, should go for?
Uh, I think so. Just to answer the first part of that question, and like I mentioned, Nonceblox is like a premier developer for literally most of them. So, and a lot of them have different strategies. So when we talk about someone like Sandbox, who we have been developing for, I think literally for a year or so, they just after 4 years of development, their own in-house and R development, they're now launching their first testnet. And on the other hand, when we were developing when we develop for Blocktopia, for instance, Ross has a very different way of thinking about things. He's a very aggressive guy. He's not going to wait for 4 years. They launched their token. They are coming out with their land sale. And even before, we were talking about, we were discussing about him launching a launchpad. And he came out with an announcement of Blockpad recently. So a lot of these things are going to also vary, or which player is going to exist is also going to vary dependent on the strategies that they take. So it could be slow and steady in the turtle thing that Sebastian is doing with Sandbox, or the more fast rabbit approach or leopard approach, which Ross is doing with Blocktopia. And even the consistent approach of launching out good products, which Jamie is doing with Vulcan Forged. So which player would exist, which player would not, is certainly very difficult to predict. But in short term, while NFT and metaverses are still hot, all of them are going to make you money if you invest in them. We made some good money on most of these projects, and I think the retailers are going to too. And answering the second question, when it comes to really the NFTs, and for average consumer, for most of the people who are way into blockchain, and they understand the DNA of blockchain, or why NFTs, or how NFTs it's easier for them to filter out, hey, this NFT is going to grow, this NFT is going to fly, and this particular NFT is just a copy of like 10,000 other NFTs that are coming out daily. So for an average Indian consumer or an average Indian user to figure out which NFT to buy, I think it should rather be a more pool-based approach where their exposure is limited. They treat it like any other asset class. We do that with Nifty Pays. We do that with Shisha Land. So they should literally treat that like any other asset class and only invest a portion of their money in the NFTs and not really go after the individual NFTs, but maybe go after a pool of NFTs and say, okay, hey, I'm gonna invest in a family and get that index or an exposure to the NFT rather than saying I'm holding CryptoPunk number 1234. So they should invest in the whole family of CryptoPunk and then treat it like how they are treating in like a mutual fund or a Nifty index today. So I think that's a more stable approach and would make sure that they're not really losing money. That a lot of people keep on complaining that I invested in this shitty NFT, which was $1 million worth, and now it's literally maybe worth pennies. So those kind of manipulations are easy in NFT world. So for someone who don't understand the DNA of NFTs and how the whole industry and money works in general in crypto, they should rather take a more holistic approach and invest in indexes or like a bigger exposure thing rather than individual in NFTs out there.
Yeah, so we have to invest very do we have to do our own research in buying these lands and metaverses and all that. So going to Victoria, same question for you, that what are the big players right now in your opinion of the metaverse, and what are the things a small time trader should watch out for?
Okay, so I think for me, one of the projects I find very exciting currently is actually Startlas. It's a very exciting project for me. I've followed it, their marketing strategy and the hype they've built around their product. So for me, I almost can't wait to see the game itself. But we also have projects like Decentraland, Axis. We have Blocktopia. We have UFO. And the list currently keeps increasing. And I've had the opportunity to work with projects like Division Network. Also, I think they have like amazing products there. There's like so much going on in this space. The most important part, I would always say, when investing in anything, especially in this space, is do your research. The essence of your research can never, like, you can't pick up someone else's word over your research. It's very important. Every project almost has a white paper, a light paper, a 2-pager, 1-pager, just something trying to tell you, this is what we do, this is what we're about, and this is what the project is all about. So if you dedicate your time to getting the right information, you'll definitely pick something up. You never want to buy an NFT because everybody is saying, oh my God, this NFT is crazy. No, you have to buy an NFT because you can see in the nearest future, what are the possible use cases for this NFT? Nobody wants an NFT because there's hype around it. Of course, that works too, to an extent. But when the hype dies down, what will the NFT be used for? I think now we're already seeing people actually with the potential of maybe printing out the digital item, have it in their house with the token printed at the lower end. There are so many ways people are trying to display the NFTs currently. But, in terms of making profit out of your NFTs, you have to do your research to make sure that there's a long-term use case for the NFTs, like lands, for example. Most of these metaverse, the number of lands are limited. They can't produce more out of thin air. And when most of these lands are sold, people who now need to build businesses, just like the way we have lands currently on Earth, at the end of the day, metaverse is an extension of our reality. So the same thing works in the virtual reality. So when you look at a metaverse you think can be bullish or you feel like you're betting on, you don't go all in to an extent. You have to diversify because we have so many of them looking really promising. You can invest in several, just like when we invest in altcoins. You try to make sure that you believe in the project, you've done your research, and to an extent you feel there's a way here. So I think that's the way to go about it. Always do your research in the blockchain space. You never can leave that out of the puzzle.
Well, right. That is correct. We have to do our research. We have to go with the mindset that we are not buying the single thing. We don't go with all our money into it. And same question for you, Ayushmaan, that what are the currently big players of Metaverse and how they are changing the Metaverse right now?
Yeah, so the big players being Decentraland, Mana, AXS, Roblox, there are tons of them actually. And to be honest, anyone could come up with an altcoin. I mean, if you know, recently there was a scam of the Squid Game coin. So that happened because people really didn't read up on it. It's when the famous Netflix show came out with an official announcement that it's not our coin, is when they rug pulled. Rug pulling is a term when they dump all the coins and take
Yeah.
out the profits. So, like everyone's been telling, research is the key. You have to really research about the projects, the founders, the tokenomics, and predict what it could become. But then again, I'm not going to play Nostradamus right now and tell you where to invest.
Okay, great. Yeah. So on this note, we are at last. Just Ayushmaan, I'll start with you. What will be your conclusion line for the metaverse, which you want to give to the Indian users?
So the metaverse, like we've been all talking about, it's a concept which is upcoming and in the near future. As the metaverse grows, it will actually create online spaces where user interactions are more multidimensional. Like there are already multiple platforms like the HTC Android Vive and the Oculus Rift, where you have VR-based games. But then when you combine AR and VR, it gives a whole different experience. Instead of just viewing digital content, people in the metaverse would be able to immerse themselves in the space where these digital and physical worlds converge.
Great. So moving on to Victoria, what are your conclusive lines for the viewers that what is metaverse in your opinion?
Okay, I think I would always say that when people ask you what do you think the metaverse will be, it's like asking someone in the 90s, what do you think the internet will be? The truth is, you never can tell. We are so early in the technology that we can only we can't fully project what it's going to be. The things we've all mentioned today are the possible things it's going to be, but new things are going to come up. Nobody could have told us there was going to be Zoom or Zoom was going to blow up the way it did because of a pandemic last year. So I think we are still so early into the technology to tell precisely this is what the metaverse will be. What we've shared today is what the metaverse, according to what we have currently, looks like it's going to be. But technology is consistently evolving. We have new ideas coming up. We have new things. And the blockchain sector is one of the fastest industry. You have things coming up every single year. Last year was DeFi. This year is NFTs. So you never can tell what the next idea is going to be that will change the old cycle completely. But the only thing that is very certain is the metaverse is already happening and is definitely the future of social media, work, fun, and so many aspects of life generally. So I think that's the only thing we are so certain about. But how it's going to evolve, what's going to change, how it's going to be, we can't specifically say this is what it will look like. But I think we are evolving and we are growing with it. And it's very important you stay knowledgeable, attend as many conferences as you can, read up on things you can, follow the projects, like just be in the know. I think that's just the most important thing. Follow the technology and grow with it.
Okay, great. So going to Vinshu, that your closing statement for the metaverse.
I think, for me, it's really about metaverse, as and when we evolve into that bigger micro metaverse, it's gonna just be an extension of your life. That's it. Or maybe an opportunity for you to start a second life, as some of these guys used like to call it. It's definitely something which is gonna change the way how we live, but and maybe how we live and love. Could also be big for dating industries, but it's also gonna bring along its own set of problems, and we will have a lot of new innovative startups coming up to solve those set of problems. So looking forward to that future, like everyone else out there.
Sure. We all are waiting for that. And going to Yash, what is your closing statement on Metaverse?
I think the future looks really exciting, and you are getting that opportunity to become part of that future at a very early stage. Keep your eyes open, look at the opportunities, and don't be like kind of hesitant to become part of those opportunities, because this thing is going to become very very big. Okay, and it is just getting started. So if you have missed on the crypto or NFT bus, don't miss out on the metaverse. Uh, rocket, I'll say, not even the bus, I'll call it, because this thing is going to go places. It doesn't matter whether it's a bull market, bear market, because people will not stop playing games. It doesn't matter to them. Okay, so super excited to build a future, being part of that, and you can also try to be part of those such projects. So that will give you an edge and help you become part of the future as well. And it looks really bright. Yeah, the future looks really bright and exciting.
Yeah. So, as Yash said, don't miss out on Metaverse. So, guys, thank you for joining us for today's discussion on Metaverse, and we'll see you in the next one.
Yeah. Thanks a lot, guys.
Thank you, guys.
You all stay blessed, stay awesome. See you all. Bye-bye. Take care. Yeah.